Okay, today is June 26, 2017. Can you please tell us your full name?
My name is Fay Chamish.
Can you spell it for me?
Fay, F-A-Y. Chamish is C-H-A-M-I-S-H.
And what was your maiden name?
My maiden name was Goldstien.
Okay. When and where were you born?
In Sokolov, Alaska, in Poland.
In what year?
33.
1933? What day? What date? What's your birthday?
My birthday is January 1st, 33.
Oh, okay. So what's your current age?
My current age is 84.
Okay. What about your parents? Can you tell me your father's first name?
Bill.
How do you spell it?
Benjamin.
Okay, Benjamin. And his Jewish name?
His Jewish name is Bill.
Okay.
B-R-L, Bill, yeah.
Do you know what year he was born?
2000. He was born in 1905.
1905. And what about your mother? What was her name?
In 10. My mother's name is Fay Goldstien.
How do you spell Henya?
H-A-N-A, Henna.
Okay. And she was born in 1910?
1910.
Do you know their birthday? Do you know their birthdays? Do you remember?
My mother's birthday was in July. In 1910.
Okay. Do you know where they were born?
My father was born Sokolov, and my mother was born Semyatich. And don't ask me how to spell it.
And did you have any brothers or sisters?
My parents?
No, you.
Yeah. I had a sister and a brother.
Older, younger?
My sister was older, my brother was younger.
And what about your grandparents, your father's parents? Do you know when they were born?
I don't know. Because my grandfathers I didn't know. Because my father's father, he got old up and they killed him. My mother's father, he had an operation on appendix, and years ago, and he died.
He died in the hospital?
Yeah.
Do you know what year that was?
Probably in the early 90s, in the 19, because my mother was the oldest, and she was in 10. And they probably was in the 1910, probably 1914 or 19, I don't know, because they were older. But exactly how old they were, I had no idea.
What do you remember about your grandmothers?
Well, my father's mother, she was very educated woman, very smart woman, and she was an arbitrator. This was unheard of before the war. A woman should, but she was very smart, and she know. And my mother's mother, she was a housewife in the house. She didn't work.
Did they come over to your house often, your grandmothers?
With my father's mother, we lived together. The same. My mother's mother, they lived away from us, in Semyatich. So, but we came to visit them, or they came to visit us.
Do you know anything about the education of your grandparents?
I know my father's mother, she was educated because she was an arbitrator, otherwise she could not, she had to...
College educated?
No.
Just through high school?
Yeah. I didn't know even high school, I don't know, but she was okay, My mother's mother, was she as educated as my father's? I don't think so. My father's, she was, yeah. To be an arbitrator, you had to, you had to be smart. You cannot be,
Did your parents get together as like an arranged marriage, or did they meet each other independently and fall in love?
I think, years. My father was in Sokolov, my mother was in. How did they meet? I think my mother's, where my mother was living, it was my father's cousin, and maybe that's they got together and they met each other.
They were both from religious Jewish families?
Yeah.
In Poland at that time, were most Jews religious?
Yeah.
So there was prayers every day, or how often would you pray?
I have no idea. I know my father went every day.
To the synagogue every day?
Yeah. Because he came out from, his family was rabbis, a lot of rabbis. So he grew up in that surrounding. So he went to shul every day. Did other ones? I don't know. But it was in Poland, most of them were religious.
You mentioned that your father's father was killed in a stick-up.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the circumstances that this happened in?
I wasn't even born.
I mean, where was he? Was he coming to and from somewhere when this happened?
He was coming from the orchard.
He was coming from the orchard by horse and buggy?
Well, he came from the orchard and he always had a driver with him. So was the driver also killed? I have no idea. They killed him. And they killed him, he probably had money with him. And they took away the money. And like in Europe, this was very, very seldom you hear something like that.
Did you have a large extended family? Cousins and...
Now?
Then?
Oh,
before
then,
the war?
yes. My father had 3 sisters and a brother. They all had children and, My mother had 2 brothers and a sister. They had, we had a pretty nice family.
Was your family religious?
Yeah. My father, he comes out from, his family, they all were rabbis. So they're very religious, yeah.
Can you describe to me a typical Jewish holiday dinner?
Well, holiday dinner, yes. My father went to shul. He came home. In Europe, they used to bring a pullman, to be with us, to eat with us. So he always brought a man or 2. And my mother prepared beautiful, very, with everything. Of course it was a very, very nice dinner. And we, years ago, they used to sing zmiras, special prayers. And it was a beautiful life, beautiful life.
How many people would come to dinner?
Well, us, and my father brought from the synagogue too. And everybody made their own dinners, as I remember.
They would bring food to your house, or would your mother cook?
Oh, my mother cooked.
Your mother cooked for everyone?
Yeah, before the war, my mother had a help in the house.
Polish help?
Huh?
Polish help?
No, a Jewish girl. Yes, she stayed with us 1 year. Yes, I remember. She was always with her. I remember her, she was always there. And when the war started, she left, and we left the house.
Did she survive?
I don't know.
You never heard from her?
No.
So what was your father's job? What was his business?
My father's job he was a businessman. He watched probably the orchards. They had people working for them. And when they was ready, they harvested and they sent it all over Poland.
He was in this business with your grandfather?
Yeah, but my grandfather wasn't no more there because he got killed.
But before he was killed, he was...
Before, I think, yes.
So
With
you're-
my father and his brother and my grandfather, yeah. It was a very big business. It was a very big culture, you know.
In the winter time, what kind of business would they do?
In the winter time, my father used to raise fish. You know, especially carps, you know, to sell. From there, I don't know too much. I know that they you know, there my mother was always with my father in the business. You know?
Did they have other people working for them? Or
Yeah, yeah.
It was a big operation?
I don't know how big it was, but yeah, they had people working for them.
And did your family own property?
No, my father only had, my parents had a big apartment house.
They owned this big
They
one.
owned it, yeah.
They were renting it out?
Yeah, they had so many apartments. They had stores there. Yeah.
So other people had their businesses in this apartment building? Or did your
Yeah,
parents?
they
They're renting it
rented the stores. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I know it was a candy store, and they gave me a penny, and a very neat, and they got me a candy.
So you remember?
That I remember.
So you weren't living in this apartment building?
Yeah.
You were living there and also they were renting out other rooms?
Yeah,
And they
we were living there, in the rest, you know, we had our apartment there.
And this was right in the center of town? The town you lived in?
I would think so. Yeah. Do I remember I know it was a very Jewish section. And there everybody was Jewish.
Could you estimate how many Jews lived there before the war?
In our town?
Mhm.
I have one landsman here, and I asked him how many Jews was in Sokolov. So he says about 25,000. It was not it was I don't know how many people it was in the town, in the city, but it was not a small city, Sokolov.
You said there was 25,000 Jews living there. How big was the non-Jewish population? I'm not sure.
He said, listen, it was maybe mixed. Maybe it was 50,000, 60,000.
How far is this town from Warsaw?
It wasn't far. It was maybe, because I was in Warsaw, Warsaw was a hospital. When I was a very little girl, I would say a half an hour from us,
By train.
the train.
Did you, as a young girl, go to Warsaw? Do you remember? Did you take trips with your family before the war?
Yeah, before the war, they went on vacations, when they did.
Where?
Yes.
Where would they vacation?
It's a good question.
You don't remember the place. You just remember going somewhere.
Yeah.
Was it like a beach or in the mountains?
No, like you go here in a vacation to a place and you stay there for a week or two and then you come home.
Do you have any memories, any fond memories of these places?
It was beautiful. Yeah, as children, we had a very nice time there.
Do you think these places were in Poland, or were you going?
In Poland.
Did your parents take part in any activities before? Were they into sports? Any sort of?
No. I don't think in Poland was so much sport. Do I remember? No.
No. Okay.
They did not take, no.
So, did your family have any non-Jewish friends?
Probably, I would say so, because they was friends with those people that they rented the orchards. So I'm sure they had friends, non-Jewish friends.
Did you have any sense as a child that there was anything different about being Jewish and just being Polish?
Where we used to live was mainly Jews. And I did not have non-Jewish friends because maybe I was small. And maybe if I would go to school, then I would, knew non-Jewish also, but I never went to school because I just had to go to school and the war started. So.
Do you know in your hometown if there was a separate Jewish school that the Jews went to, or was it just one, like a public school where everyone was together?
It was Jewish schools, but I think, I'm not sure, I think my sister did it. She went in a regular school, and after the regular school, they took her to a Jewish school to learn, Hebrew, Jewish prayers, yeah.
Okay.
They used to call it Pesyankov.
Did your parents ever speak about anti-Semitism?
No.
Not at all?
Before the war, no.
Did your family try to emigrate in the 1930s? Did they ever talk about maybe leaving Poland?
No.
Going somewhere else?
No.
What do you think the reason was?
Well, they made, listen, they were born there, they had a very good business there. So why leave, why go to another country where they were very successful in Poland.
Do you have any memory of Hitler's rise, or after Hitler was in power in Germany, anything about that?
I was, when Hitler came into our town, it was the 1st of September, I think, yeah. And my father was on the orchard because, to harvest the fruits and send it away. It was on a Friday. And I was downstairs, we were upstairs. I was playing downstairs like a little child plays. And they came in, the German came in through our, where we were living. Why there, I have no idea. And while I was playing there, they were coming in, and there was a man sitting in front of the door where you go in, and they killed him right away because he was a big bird he had, so they shot him right away.
Did you witness this?
And I was here, and I didn't know what happened. A child, what do I know? He's somebody, and he fell down, and I ran up, and I was crying and screaming.
This was your first experience with
That was my first experience. And there my father came home, and we were living near a park. And everybody ran into that park because the bomb was, falling, and there was a lot of trees. Maybe that's why everybody came in that park. And when my father came from the orchard, we waited for him to come, so we also went there, to escape the bombs, There were so many people, we didn't have where to sit no more. But there was a little place near a stream of water. And we sat there, Everybody was squished in because so many people. And a bomb fell in the water. So of course it was very, made like this, and nobody got killed. Thank God he fell in the water. And this is my first that I've seen that a bomb falls and people screaming and yelling, and you couldn't recognize with the water splashed and everybody got, And there we were 2 days, very little, and then the bomb stopped, so we went back to the house. I was stayed in the house, I don't know how long. And then they made the ghetto. And they took us to the ghettos.
Where your apartment was located was not where they made the ghetto? You had to actually
No.
leave your apartment?
No, no, a little bit farther.
How big was the ghetto?
It was, who knows, but I know it was a lot of people.
Can you describe life inside the ghetto?
In the ghetto, there was no life. You know what? So many people stayed in one room, even a little apartment. And my mother used to go, my father they took to work. And my mother also they took to work. And they usually, being we were so young, somehow they did not took us and killed us. Usually, in my age, in my sister's age, in my brother's age, they took right away and they sent them to the crematoriums. But somehow, there they didn't took us. So when my mother went to work, she took us along. And whatever she did, I did. My sister did, and my little brother.